and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. How are you? I knew you were going to do this. It's because I've got tights on. You never come and sit on my lap, but when I've got tights on, you just want to pull them, don't you? Go there. Just go nicely there. No? You're going to try and sit on me? Do you want to sit on a pillow on me rather than tights? It's a bit of a small pillow, but you are a small girl. Yeah, sit down so I can show everybody some books. I'll just start by introducing myself. Hi, welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Today's video, it's a book haul. Not only is it a book haul, it's a book and a library haul. So I've got 3 books, well they're all books, 10 books in total, 7 are from the library, 3 are from elsewhere. Don't know if Minnie's going to sit down, but we'll just try and work around her. Let's start with the first one that I bought. Mwah, you're such a pretty girl. It's a cookbook. It's the new Jamie Oliver book. It is One by Jamie Oliver. Simple one-pan wonders. This accompanies a new TV show by Jamie Oliver at the moment called One-Pan Wonders, I think. I've made a few things out of here. So this is sort of riffed off the very amazing book, the Roasting Tin series by Rukmini Iyer, who she does, I mean, you'll know how much I love those books. The Green Roasting Tin, meow, I know, I do love them. The Green Roasting Tin's my favourite cookbook of all time. And she does, you're so squeaky and cute. And she's made a series of books based on like one pan, and that's what Jamie seems to have done here. However, her one pan is sort of like oven cooked dinners. These range from oven cooked dinners to things in a saucepan to things in a frying pan. I've made a few things from it so far and been impressed so far. So frying pan pasta seems to be the way that he's going. So quick pasta dishes, and I've made one already. She's trying to find the one she's made. Where is it? Oh, you can tell the one I've made because the pages feel dirty. I've made squash and chickpea pasta. Here it is. What I am excited to make is, because Jamie seems to be getting lasagna sheets, fresh lasagna sheets of pasta. You're going to sit down. Fresh lasagna sheets of pasta, and then sort of chopping them up into either tagliatelle or thicker ribbons. And in this instance, in the Christmas one, look, he uses a cutter and he cuts out little stars in it. Go on, down you get. Down you get, Minnie. Just down you get. And don't pull, these are brand new tights, so don't put a hole in them. But I've also made, there was like, I mean, I've only made 2 things from it, I think. Yeah. The other thing I made was like a flatbread. Oh God, I'm so excited about this. Crispy layered potatoes. Look at those potatoes. Meow, meow, meow. As a vegetarian, quite often people say to me, how is that book for vegetarians? I would say it's fine. There's lots of vegetarian stuff in there. I think Jamie Oliver's really worked hard to make at least half of his recipes vegetarian or vegan. And a lot of the stuff in here, like there's a chicken section, but you could replace a lot of those things with halloumi or whatever sort of protein you want, really. Fake chicken and things like that. But there are meat recipes in here, and there are things that you probably wouldn't be able to create. So like, for example, here, Parmesan prosciutto steak. What are you going to do in place of that? Parmesan prosciutto and anchovies in there. That's 3 of them. There's not many ingredients. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. Thank God Minnie's got off. I'm just seeing if I can find... Oh no, I've made a burger out of here as well. Oh yeah, the burger I made was lovely. We made this loaded veggie burger, which you blitz up a bag of grains. You know, you can buy like bags of grains that go in the microwave, like microwave rice. You blitz up one of those and then you form it around some grated cheese and some chopped up gherkins in the middle. And then once you've cooked it, you halve the burger and put them both face down in the frying pan. Very nice. But yeah, I will, I'll let you know how I get on. There's a whole host of like sweet things that I haven't even looked at yet. So there we go. Impressed with it so far. And he says, oh yeah, you're saving on your washing up. I guess you are, but you're still chopping and stuff, I suppose. So yeah, but good so far. Next up is a proof copy of a book that will be out by the time you are watching this. I'm filming this on the day that it's out, Thursday. This is A Girlhood, A Letter to My Transgender Daughter by Carrie Hayes. It comes out on the 15th of September, that's today. And this is it says here, deeply moving love letter to her trans daughter from Carrie Hayes. who made it clear to her family from an early age that they were all wrong. She was not a boy, but in fact a girl. And so they shifted pronouns, adopted a nickname and encouraged her to dress as she felt comfortable, until an anonymous complaint to the Department of Children and Families brought Hayes' child to the attention of the Republican state they call home. The family uprooted their lives in the more trans-accepting northeast United States, though they were never far from the hate and fear resting at the nation's core. Intimate, lyrical and thought-provoking, A Girlhood is a celebration of difference, a plea for empathy, a hope for a better future, but moreover it is a love letter to a child who has always known herself and is waiting for the rest of the world to catch up. So yeah, very excited about reading that. The front cover looks lovely as well. It's pink with these two little deer on them. Lovely. So really looking forward to reading that. Then someone very kindly, and I never mention the names of these people that do this, but I've tried to find you on Instagram and I haven't been able to find you to thank you properly, but somebody sent me a book from my wish list to say sort of congrats on being able to reduce my hours slightly. So if you've missed it, I've reduced my hours slightly at work so that I now don't work on a Friday, which means I'm able to dedicate a lot more time to the channel. So I am still working, I guess, but I'm doing booktube and YouTube work. And this is such an exciting thing. It's something that I've wanted for such a long time. So I was delighted that it's finally come off. Literally years I've been trying to get this, so very, very pleased that that's happened. But someone was kind enough to send me a book from my wish list to say congrats, which was lovely. And that book is Christmas Island by Natalie Norman. Now, this is the first book that Natalie Norman's written in English. Previously, all of her books have been written in Norwegian. And this is a romance novel. And it is set, so it's, well, I'll read it to you. It sounds like I'm gonna love reading this at Christmas. In the bleak midwinter, a really frosty wind is making Holly's life absolutely miserable. After all the years of hard work it took Londoner Holly Green to become a doctor, now it could all be taken away and she only has herself to blame. She's retreating to her brother's rustic home on an island, love books set on islands, off the course of Norway to lick her wounds. Only it's the middle of winter and icy slush plus endless darkness isn't exactly the cheery festive getaway she had imagined. Nearly stumbling off the edge of a cliff in the dark, Holly is saved by, forgive me, my Norwegian pronunciation isn't up to scratch, I would guess Froy, a yellow-eyed cat of fearsome but fluffy proportions. I've got a yellow-eyed cat of fearsome but fluffy proportions. And his owner, grouchy, bearded recluse Tor. Tor has his own problems to face, but the inexplicable desire to leave a bag of freshly baked gingerbread men on Holly's doorstep is seriously getting in the way of his hermit routine. Call it kindness, call it Christmas, but Holly's arrival means midwinter has never looked less bleak. I mean, it just sounds like it's going to be great fun, doesn't it? So, yeah, that'll go on the old TBR for December. Love getting excited about Christmas books in September. So the next are all library books. So I'll show you these four first. And then when you get them out from the library, you never know whether or not they're going to be fast back loans. I always love to chat about the library on here. But at the library where I've got these out from, if they've got new releases, well, one of them's not even that much of a new release. They put them on a 2-week loan so that more people get to read them quicker. And I've got 3 which are 2-week loans. So I'll show you this lot first, then I'll show you the 2-week loans and we can work out what we're going to prioritise first. The first one I've got that isn't 2-week loan is Commonwealth by Anne Patchett. I've been meaning to read this for a long time. I'm sure I first saw this on Mercedes' channel, but recently at choir, because I am a go to choir now, one of the women there mentioned that they had recently read a Belle Patchett book. She couldn't remember the title of it, but it made me think, oh, I've been meaning to read Commonwealth. I must put a reservation on that at the library, so here we go. This is set in 1964 and Bert Cousins shows up at Fanny Keating's christening party uninvited and notices a heart-stoppingly beautiful woman. When he kisses Beverly Keating, his host's wife, he sets in motion the joining of 2 families whose shared fate will be defined on a day 7 years later. In 1988, Franny Keating, now 24, is working as a cocktail waitress in Chicago. When she meets the famous author Leon Posen one night at the bar and tells him about her family, she unwittingly relinquishes control over their story. That's a mini hair in my mouth. So yeah, that sounds great, doesn't it? Then I've got, I think this might have also been on Mercedes' channel, Amy and Lan by Sadie Jones. Oh God, this is embarrassing because the next one's from Mercedes' channel as well. Stalker. This is about Amy and Lan, who are living in the West Country, having the best childhood. They're 3 families, a couple of lodgers, goats, dogs, and an orphaned calf called Gabriella Christmas. The parents are best friends too. Originally from the city, they're learning about farming, growing their own vegetables, milking goats, slaughtering chickens, and scything the hay. Mind your eyes, don't break your neck, careful. The adults are far too busy to keep an eye on Amy and Lan would never tell them about climbing on the high barn roof or what happened with the axe that time, any more than their parents would tell them the things they get up to. Adult things like betrayal that threaten to bring the whole fragile ideal tumbling down. yeah, there's something about sort of like farm work and stuff that really makes me think of autumn, even though I imagine not much farm work is done in autumn. But this is quite an autumnal front cover as well, isn't it? That colour, I think. But yeah, this sounds great. I think Sadie Jones also wrote a book, The Snakes, yeah, which I own but have never read, so I'll get around to reading that, and then if I like it, I've already got the snakes lined up. Yeah, so like I said, this isn't from Mercedes' channel, but Mercedes recently read a book by the author Nina LaCour, and said that she really enjoyed it, so I had a look on, it's like that bit in Mean Girls, isn't it? I saw Regina George wearing cargo pants and flip-flops, so I bought cargo pants and flip-flops, whereas I saw Mercedes reading a book, so I went and found an author of that book that she'd read. So yeah, Nina LaCour, and I went on my library, and this was the only book they had, and I've read a few by David Levithan. When I first started BookTube, actually, I remember Sana was reading a couple of David Levithan books, and Sana was the first BookTube channel that I came across, and yeah, I remember reading a few of those. This one's called You Know Me Well, and this is a book written by two people, as I said, Nina LaCour and David Leviathan. Mark and Kate have been sitting next to each other for an entire year but have never spoken until one fateful night when their lives collide. Kate is running away from a chance of meeting the girl she has loved from afar, while Mark is in love with his best friend Ryan, who may or may not love him back. They're both lost, and finding each other is the last thing on their mind. But they don't realise just how important they will become to each other, and how together they will navigate the joys and heartaches of first love, one truth at a time. So I wonder if this is that the Mark chapters are written by one author, and the Amy chapters, and the Kate chapters are written by another author. But yeah, I always quite enjoy books written by two authors. So there we go. And then last one, I've got this non-fiction book, which is by Nicole Ellis, and this is called We Go High. This is how 30 women of colour achieved greatest things against all odds. I really enjoy this sort of like little insight into a topic, and in particular they've done a lot of these for like women, where they have, let's see if the setup, oh no, it's a bit different. So they have a beautiful portrait of somebody. Oh, Michaela Carr was the first person we've opened up a beautiful portrait by a wonderful illustrator, and then information about that person. Now, previously this has been sort of like a potted life. So when I've read these other books, there've been one picture and then this. But the good thing is that there's a good couple of pages worth in here, so you're going to get less sort of highlights and maybe a little bit more into it. Ava DuVernay's another person. Simone Biles, gymnast. There's a section on STEM and business. Yeah, really great. Culture. Amanda Gorman, I think I just saw, yeah, Amanda Gorman. So yeah, I'm going to be really enjoying finding out a few women I've never heard of before, and learning a little bit more about some people that I do know. So there we go. Then we're on to the 2-week loan books. So there's 3 of them, and luckily I am off work next week, so there is a chance that I might be able to get all 3 of them read, but we need to work out I say we, I'm pulling you guys into this as well, a sort of priority list. I'll show you all of them, then we'll talk about them. So the first one's Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. You would have seen me get this out from the library before, and it was on a 2-week loan, and I never got around to reading it. Then Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And then The Marriage Portrait by Maggio Pharaoh. Now, out of these 3, the one I'm most excited about is this one, the Maggio Pharaoh one. Maggio Pharaoh, I just really like her writing. Really, really enjoy it. But this one is historical fiction, and quite historical fiction, because I've read sort of like more of her other books, which are more sort of like recent historical fiction. But this is set in the winter of 1561, and Lucrezia, Duchess of Ferrara, is taken on an unexpected visit to a country villa by her husband Alfonso. As they sit down to dinner in the icy hall, it occurs to Lucrezia that Alfonso has a sinister purpose in bringing her here. He intends to kill her. Lucrezia is 16-year-old and has led a sheltered life locked away inside Florence's grandest palazzo, guarded by her father's soldiers and her mother's ladies-in-waiting. Here in this remote villa, however, she is entirely at the mercy of her increasingly erratic husband. What is Lucrezia to do with this sudden knowledge? What chance does she have against Alfonso, the ruler of a province and a trained soldier? How can she ensure her survival? So yeah, sounds bloody great, don't it? She won, obviously Hamnet is another one of her books. I love this front cover as well, it's really special. So that's the one I'm most excited about, but also Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read one book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which was Daisy Jones and the Six, but I have read that 3 times, so I don't know if that counts. I've got a few more of her books, the Malibu Rising and the, what is it? The 7 Husbands of Evelyn, not Hardcastle, Evelyn Hugo, something about that. But this is about Carrie Soto. She's fierce and and her determination to win at any cost has not made her popular. But by the time she retires from tennis, My friend Emma recently read this and I was like, oh, that doesn't seem like the sort of book that Emma would read, but she's really into tennis, so that's why she's read it. She is the best player in the world has ever seen. She has shattered every record and claimed 20 slam titles. And if you ask Carrie, she's entitled to every one. She sacrificed nearly everything to become the best with her father as her coach. Javier, a former champion himself, has trained her since the age of 2. But 6 years after her retirement, Carrie finds herself sitting in the stands of the 1994 US Open, watching her record being taken from her by a brutal, stunning British player named Nikki Chan. At 37 years old, Carrie makes the monumental decision to come out of retirement and be coached by her father for one last year in an attempt to reclaim her record, even if the sports media say that they never like the battle axe anyway, even if her body doesn't move as fast as it did, and even if it means she's swallowing her pride to train with the man she once almost opened her heart to, Bo Huntley. Like her, he has given something to prove before he gives up her game forever. In spite of it all, Carrie Soto is back for one epic final season. There we go. Oh, I love the end papers as well. They've got all little tennis balls on. I wonder if David might like that. I'm always saying I wonder if David might like that, and normally he doesn't. But that does sound good. And then Lessons in Chemistry. As I said, this is the one that I have had out before and didn't get around to reading it. I tried listening to the audiobook of it and I didn't get on with it. So it's book or nothing for me. And this is about Elizabeth Zott, who is a chemist. She's not your average woman. In fact, Elizabeth Zott would be the first to point out that there's no such thing. But it's the early 1960s and her all-male team at Hastings Research Institute take a very unscientific view of equality, except for one, Calvin Evans, the lonely, brilliant Nobel Prize nominated grudge holder who falls in love with, of all things, her mind. True chemistry results. But like science, life is unpredictable, which is why a few years later Elizabeth Zott finds herself not only a single mother but the reluctant star of America's most beloved cooking show, Supper at 6. Elizabeth's unusual approach to cooking, combine 1 tablespoon acetic acid with a pinch of sodium, proves revolutionary. But as her following grows, not everyone is happy, because as it turns out, Elizabeth Zott isn't just teaching women to cook, she's daring them to change the status quo. That sounds bloody great as well. I don't feel like I read that blurb last time because I didn't know that's what it was about. It's got cooking in it. So I think, well, all of them sound great. All 3 of these sound great. As I said, I'm off next week, so it would be a joy to be able to read all 3 of them in a week. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? I wonder if I could do that. Maybe I'll start with Lessons in Chemistry just because I've got that out before. This also sounds good though. Then maybe I'll move on to The Marriage Portrait because I was so excited about it. And then maybe Carrie Soto is back. Yeah. What order do you think you would read these in? Or have you read any of these 3? I mean, have you read any of these books? But have you read any of these 3? And, I mean, if you've read all 3, imagine. Is there someone out there that's read all 3 of these? And let me know which one you like best. But there we go. Those are the books that I have got my mitts on in the month of September. I hope you're all very well. And, yeah, see you all again soon for another Richard video. Goodbye!